It's the Joel Shit Show featuring Joel Shit. Hi, welcome to the Joel Shit Show. I'm your host, Joel Shit. I'm driving to the gym. And it's kind of a weird morning. Yeah, every now and then you wake up and you go, boy, I really ought to be tired, but I'm not. That's what happened to me today. I got to bed late and I had to get up early to go to the gym. And I was, oh, Birdie. Jeez. Oh, the neighbor's cat is playing in the street. That's what Birdie does. What a bad girl. Oh, Birdie. One of these days you're going to end up just like Seven. You know, it's because of Seven you're even here. I might have talked about Seven many years ago on the Joel Shit Show featuring Joel Shit. It was an all-black cat that lived downstairs with Penny, who of course got her own episode when there was no neighbors when Esther moved out and she was playing in the balcony. One day Seven went out into the street, and that was the last that I ever saw of her. Another neighbor, president of our board, of which I am the CFO. She found Seven and it was too late. Very sad. It is why we ended up with Birdie, who was not allowed outside for several months. I think they were practicing their parenting for when they would have the real thing, who is now named Jane and turned 1 last weekend. Hooray for Jane. Birdie would sit in the windowsill and look out into the parking lot, and her mouth would open and close with the window closed, and you knew it was her meowing. She didn't know what it sounded like. It was the opposite of when you talk to a girl on the phone or online and you haven't met her yet. This time you knew what she looked like, but you didn't know what she sounded like. But you could put your hand up to the window and she'd put her paw up to the window, and you could tell she had a playful air about her. And you kind of knew that anyway, because you knew that those two neighbors would never buy a cat or get a cat that wasn't like that, especially if it was replacing Seven, who was also quite playful. And sure enough, one day Birdie went outside and she was in the house. She was in everyone's house. She's made herself at home. Begs the question, is it like a person where you deny someone something and then that's all that they want? Now she always wants to be outside. Perhaps it's because she wasn't allowed to be outside while her stepsister Penny was. Penny, of course, is outside all the time. And I used to hold Penny up to the window where Birdie would be sitting and say, hey, look at this, look at this. This cat gets to be outside. You are stuck inside. So maybe it's my fault that Birdie's out playing in the street. You ever think about that? Boy, I can't wait for this episode to be used in court. That'll be something. Alright, what else? Yesterday I watched Game 1 of the Western Conference quarterfinals between the San Jose Sharks and Colorado Avalanche. The Colorado Avalanche handpicked to be the team to face the San Jose Sharks. By barely making the playoffs, they played against the Sharks, who barely made the 1 seed. We all know what happened last year. Last year was a divisional opponent, Anaheim Ducks. This year, if they had finished the 2 seed, which could have happened if Chicago beat Detroit, like I had mentioned, then they would have played LA. And I said, oh no LA. I think LA's going to beat Chicago, or at least give a run for the money. So Sharks go out, nothing happens in the first period. It's not a big surprise. Second period, they give up a goal. In the third period, about 7 minutes left, they tie it up. Alright, about a minute left. Okay, time for overtime, said the Sharks. Meanwhile, Colorado said, we don't really want to go to overtime on the road against one of the apparently toughest places to play in, at least in the regular season. Why don't we just beat the Sharks in regulation? So they did. They scored with less than a minute left, and the Sharks went, huh? And they could not shift gears back from getting ready for overtime to better tie the game right now or there won't be an overtime. Now, the goal itself was not the Sharks' fault, it's true. The puck went off of Rob Blake's skate and it went in. However, the reason why the Avalanche were even in a position to do that was because the Sharks were not skating to the puck. They were on the backs of their heels, as some like to say. And it let Colorado get to the puck, because San Jose was like, well, it doesn't really matter. The puck's all the way down here. We might as well just kind of fuck around and we can worry about it in overtime. Plus, there's an intermission between third period and overtime in the playoffs, because it's a full period in overtime, assuming no one scores. And so they were probably looking forward to whatever it is that they do during the intermission. You know, maybe there's a new flavor of Power Bar out there, you know, that's shark flavor or something. If anything, that's what Colorado had to eat. So it wasn't the biggest surprise, and it's only one game, but that's what they said against Anaheim last year. And I really thought it would be different because it was Colorado. But, I don't know. I guess we'll see. That's all the time we have for today. Visit us on the web at joelshitshow.com. Email joel at joelshitshow.com.